Little chilly here today, little chilly. 1 degree when we woke up. It's 3 now, but it's still a nice day here in Ontario. Definitely makes it a nicer day when the horses raced really good last night. Now, today I'm going to go over, I'm going to do 3 videos for you today. The first one will be a little recap of what took place yesterday, where I see things going. The second one will be who is going in the sale, who's entered in the sale. We have 11 horses entered in the sale on Monday. I'm going to do a video and start reaching out to everybody. Now, a couple of those horses will have reserves for obvious reasons, but I think everything should work out fine. Now, I will be going to Indiana on Friday evening for Sweet on Pete and Purple Aura. Both of those fillies are in the sale on Monday. You're getting a little taste of what competition outside Ohio can be. A little tougher. They're both 10 to 1 or whatnot. I think Pete will do good, and Purple Aura should give a good account of herself. But as I said, entering uncharted, well, they're very charted, entering different waters for those fillies now. So we'll start with the first video, which is one of last night, what took place, what I'm looking at doing. I just told you we are going to have 11 horses in the sale on Monday. But before we get to the sale, before we get to Indiana, before we get to anything else, the Breeders' Crown or anything above, we'll talk about what took place last night. As many of you noticed, I did not go to Ohio, which was just fine in the long run, which even makes my decision easier when things go smoothly. Now, Handsome Face did not, I'll start at the back then. Handsome Face did not race well, but he didn't look good the whole way. When I drove him, I thought maybe I bottomed him out. Maybe I let him trot too much on the front end. The way that Aaron was fighting with him behind the gate, I know he has a penchant, I've heard in the past, of maybe shutting his air off. We're going to find out this morning with a scope and draw some blood on him. Now, it's very difficult to discern that a horse flipped her palate with the blood work, but again, 2 parts to a puzzle we need solved. I think he's a better horse than that, and the issue we have is going to the gate. He gets a little hot. You'll see him. He made a break on me. He got pacey on me and made a break. Last night he was kind of rough and rolly on Aaron. Was the track just too hard? What was going on? Did something happen? I don't know. We'll find out though. And the other 2 were A+. That was wonderful to see My Sweet Mimi win. I think she got 1 more win or something in that class. Now, as a number of our clients have pointed out, there are classes and claimers for them in the Meadows, but 1, they have to fill, and 2, they have to be able to win them. And when it comes to My Sweet Mimi, I think she's done very good for us this month. She got to a bit of a saturation point a little quicker than I thought she would. Now, when we buy horses like My Sweet Mimi, it isn't just to own them for a month and sell them. But if it turns out that they're not going to end up at Mohawk or advancing in much more major ways, then we have to look at what our options are each race, race by race, start by start. And I think it's probably wise if we maybe just re-offer My Sweet Mimi on preferred. We are going to Harrisburg. We are looking for horses that are a little higher end, so to speak, and as much as My Sweet Mimi will do right now, eventually in the near future, we would be crossing a bridge that may be a little narrow. So what I mean by that is every time we win and take wins and money off the table or put it on the table in this respect, it makes our overall worth to other people that are looking for the same types of horses. It makes it less interesting. So My Sweet Mimi is a horse that will be going on the sale board on Monday, the preferred sale platform. And what about globetrotting? Come on, just put together like 8 or 10 or 12 quality races. You know, Eglaire M has just soured me to the point, and I'm not angry at her. I am a little bit, but I know, you know, it just is what it is. It just, the industry is so difficult to traverse sometimes, and then when you have horses that you're really counting on, not that we're gonna all be impoverished if globetrotting and Eglaire M don't race well, but horses that we were really counting on that have really faltered in the last little while. You saw pieces of what globetrotting could be like, but that full picture is yet to be formed in her age career. And last night was a big piece of that. 55-3 over Yonkers with no hobbles on. That's a big mile. And the way she did it, calm, cool, and collected. And, you know, this goes back to one right now, the way that Megan has them nice, you know, just takes care of the horses really well, puts them on the track, and you can see that, they want to offer their best up. And that's really what it's all about, horsemanship. And to see a younger girl like her, and I don't know Megan's age, but does a good job and a good horse person. And I'm glad that things are working out well for us. I'm glad to forge a relationship. Obviously, I know her boyfriend very well, and I've known Scott Zeron for a long time, since he was a kid. And glad that we can forge a little bit of a relationship there. Now, Scotty's a little bit like me, I said to him last night, "Where were you?" He said, "I was on the couch." Yeah. But it worked out well. I didn't want to ask him before the race, because if she run, it's at least a 7-hour drive to his house. So I'm glad that Jordan Stratton got the job done and she won. But not only did she win, she won confidently. And hopefully she can build on that. Dominic, Megan, very structured in their approach to horses with issues like tying up and whatnot, foot issues. So glad to have what appears to be globetrotting on the straight and narrow. This could be a scary type filly for us in Yonkers if we can keep her right and get her right. Very, very excited about what I saw last night from globetrotting and My Sweet Mimi. A little less excited about Handsome Face, but I think what I saw was a horse that just wasn't in his right frame of mind last night. And why? We'll get to the bottom of quite quickly. Now, today, we have a lot of horses racing today in North America, because we have a number of horses I'm looking at. I took a picture. I'm looking at horses racing at the Meadows, Harris, Philadelphia, Plain Ridge, Woodbine, Flamborough, and Mohawk again. So we'll get right to it. Probably many of you are surprised that Grace is not in the sale on Tuesday. I have switched gears with her. Instead of maximizing our value for her, let's win some races and get her back on track. We turned her out all week. We tried to race her out of the field, jogged her light yesterday, shipped her over to the Meadows. I have no idea what's about to take place. Normally I'd be concerned because I know Tim is with Atlas Hanover in, I think he is, in Philadelphia. But Grace almost doesn't need the hobbles. So wherever they set them would be fine. I'll send Hunter Myers a message. I know I was looking for his feedback anyway on My Sweet Mimi, but I'll send him a message in regards to Grace today, just to let him know she can get a little full in the face, get a little strong. She has been tying up. Probably if you drop her in the 2-hole or somewhere, she can get off the gate good. Drop her in the 2-hole somewhere, you'd probably be better off. We can probably take those head poles back off of her today now. Maybe just put a line pole on the left. She doesn't really need anything now. So very, very happy with, not very, very happy with Grace, but hopefully that will change today. Just transitioned from, we should sell this filly for X amount of dollars, which is top dollar, to fine. If they're not going to pay us top dollar, what are our options? Our options are simple. We're going to race her where she can win. She should have won the other day, but I can assure you that residual tie-up, or quite possibly some new tie-up, had played a role in that not happening. We're looking to mitigate that. We raced her to the field for the most part this week. Now, she did have to ship to the Meadows, but hopefully that works out today. We'll see. I find it hard to believe that we can't mitigate this and get her back on track, and I know that whether it's Tim in Pennsylvania or Jason in Northfield, or even Stacy and Brett down in Scioto, I've been talking to all our trainers the last 24 hours. You guys saw the video I put out regarding classifications and our horses kind of stepping on one another here in Ontario. I put a call into the race secretary here just to look for what my expectations and maybe what their expectations are moving forward. I had a great frank conversation with Tony O'Sullivan about what horses are needed in Ontario right now. I would like to, as I said, and I am going to say in my blog, I would like to see that outlined for everybody to see so that we can go about filling these classes. That's another talk for another day, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of what is needed right now and where we are overloaded, so to speak. So Grace will race today, hopeful and optimistic about today, and we'll see where we go from there. Atlas Hanover, super excited, except he's got the 7-hole in with some tough horses. Now, I have to reach out again to Jim King this morning. He's going to pick the horse up and take him. We have the Prospect, the Progress Series, and the Matron. No cakewalks, but I believe this horse has proven to us at least he can step up in competition. His wins in 52 at the Meadows were easy and well earned. I thought he raced very, very well. He's coming into today's race very, very sharp. We'll see how he races today, and then we'll go from there. Good as him. A horse that we're kind of looking, especially now that we have horses to move around. Obviously, horses that maybe we were complacent with, saying, good as him's fine there. Maybe now we take a look and say, okay, does he fit in a place like Scioto or the Meadows or Northfield better? And if so, is there a horse that fits Mark and Melissa Beckwith that we're looking to move around better? These are questions that I have to answer over the next week. So as we go into Harrisburg, I'll talk about that in a minute. As we go into Harrisburg, are our horses in the right place? If they're not, or if there's question marks surrounding where they're at and what they're doing, how do we mitigate that? What's the best way forward? At least what looks to be the best way forward for us. So Good as him is obviously on, not on any sort of block. We're just trying to look and see what is best for him. And then Merchant Man today. This might be his last start of the season. Unfortunately, we turned out Lady All-Star yesterday. I just didn't think it was worth doing vet work on a horse to race them twice more. We got what we wanted. We got some speed out of them, got some miles out of them, and let them grow up, have some experience, and turn them out to continue their maturing. Let those joints, in Lady All-Star's case, let her feet cool down, let her knees cool down, and let them mature and fill in. That's important. It's also important for Merchant Man. He has trotted in 58, 57, I think. I would like to see a 2-year-old mark on him, but if tonight's the night, then we'll just, if tonight is not the night, we'll just turn him out. I don't think there's going to be any grumblings over that. We are going to, and we'll continue to push him and focus on 2023 with him. Adrenaline Rush is in the sale. Somebody might say, why? Well, I'll tell you why. One, we don't have to sell him. We know what he's worth. I'm not taking a penny less than, at the very minimum, what he's in for. And at the very most, we might get a premium for the horse. There may be somebody look at that horse and say, geez, this horse is racing good and a half, fits Saratoga, fits Yonkers, can go to Dover, can go anywhere. This horse is probably worth some money. And we may get overpaid for him. What are we gambling? Entry into a sale to keep him or sell him. I just think that it's pretty easy. We race him tonight. I expect he'll do well. And if he's claimed, he's not in the sale. And if he is claimed, then we can explore other avenues with him. Again, just keep all our avenues open with these horses. So Adrenaline Rush will be in the sale. Now, tonight also, who will likely enter the sale is Game Set Match. You guys saw her last week. Very rough around the edges, very green filly, headstrong. Now, we're trying to get her head on straight. We're trying to get her moving forward, which I know we can. But what does the finished product look like? And is that something that Hutchinson Harness is after? I think they're after a stake filly, and if she's not going to be one, then I don't think they're going to keep her. So tonight is a very pivotal race in her career, whether she knows it or not. She is and could be entered in, or she could be and likely will be entered in the sale on Monday also. And then we have my boy, Eldys Patrick. A few little equipment adjustments. We worked on his feet this week, so I expect a stronger, more confident Eldys Patrick. I love the fact that they put a 50,000 claimer on that race. He fits above that class, and to be able to put him in there, 62,500 I think is a fair dollar for him. That's over 3 times what we paid for him, I think. And if they want to claim him out of there, go ahead. We'll have another one for there next week. I love the fact that it's there, and it led me to call the race secretary and say, hey, hold on. Are there going to be optional claimers in these other classes? The backup class or the class on the bottom. Is there a 100 claimer, an 80 claimer on there? We could take a look at one of those for white top. I didn't say that. For another horse that's racing near the top level, because I do desperately want to find a way forward that will allow 2 of those horses to race in Ontario, with one of those horses maybe racing just off the open designation. And if we could put a high enough price on him, a fair price, whatever that horse may be, it would help us out. If we could find a place to put a tag on Sailor, on all those horses that is fair for us and allows us to keep them here, great. So the race secretary was certainly amenable to that, but at the same token, not all those classes fill every week, right? So that is absolutely an option for us also. But in regards to LD's Patrick, I think just a fantastic class for him. He can fit in there on that tag till January 1st. Awesome. That is perfect. That's potentially 7 or 8 races in a class he should do well in. And if they happen to want to take him, fill your boots. I love LD's Patrick, but I think we have a number of horses that will just slide right in that class, right for that tag, and do well. You know, How the Hell is probably not going to beat LD's Patrick, but he's on the improve, and he has trotted in 54, so he's no slouch in his own right. And if it comes to the place where he has to move out of there, and maybe somebody has claimed LD's Patrick, we can simply retag him also. 3-year-olds get 20 or get 50%. So How the Hell's tag in there will be $75,000. This is what I want to see. Give me a path so that we can confidently and consistently race our horses where they belong. That would be an exceptional thing for us to be able to pull off and achieve. So that's what's going on today. Now tonight, after the race, you guys know I love hanging out with my kids. So I'm going to allow my girls to play hooky tomorrow. And we're going to drive to Ohio and Indiana. A lot of driving, but Addie was adamant she wanted to do it, and so was Ava, which is so odd. The 3-year-old doesn't understand what that amount of driving takes, but the 11-year-old does, and the fact that Ava, and it's not that Ava doesn't like school. She loves school, and she's doing very well in school this year. So the fact that they wanted to come with me means a lot to me, and it just shows how versatile the kids are. It's a great feeling to me, and there's nothing I hate more than being away from my family, and that is why we end up taking a lot of these road trips together. Now, Ollie can't come. He has baseball practice, and Amy, getting over a bit of a cold, God love her, we go to a restaurant, and she just got a little cough. Some people, and I think Amy is the type of lady now, and you guys know this, she's the type of woman that, as my father used to say, she wouldn't say shit if her mouth was full of it. She is very quiet and reserved, and did not want to go to dinner with us last night because she had a little cough. And every time she had like a cough, she looked around, thinking that she was offending people. And that's just Amy. And she wants to get over this and put it behind her. And when she's working outdoors every day, it's not always that easy. So she doesn't need to come. But I'm super excited that the girls and I are going to take off. Tomorrow we'll be in Indiana. I'm going to race Sweet on Pete and Purple Aura. And then if we leave tonight, actually, it allows me to go with the babies in Ohio tomorrow, go to Indiana from Northfield Park, come back, go with the babies again. You might say it's not very fun for the kids. No, but Saturday afternoon and Sunday will be all our day. We're going to go to a hotel, maybe do a little shopping, go out to eat lunch, and have some fun. And super, super excited about the road trip coming up with the girls. Now, Harrisburg. You guys may or may not notice, I've been doing a little work on the phone, working hard to get these lots sold out. We are down to 15 lots left in the Partnership A, which is exciting for me, and just over half of the other 2 lots left. Now, I would hope that everybody would see what we're trying to do here as a group, and I think this is worth saying for everybody. As a group, allowing me to go to a sale like Lexington. Do you not believe that we did great in Lexington? I understand that we've got to this point because you put your trust in me, that I have the ability to buy us decent horses at what appears to be, I'm careful to say reduced in sales and deals and whatnot, what I consider, my own 2 cents, what I consider to be affordable amounts. And having these lots and these buckets spoken for before I go to these sales allows me to do that confidently, rather than say, geez, if I buy this horse, who can I call to buy a piece? Because I know we have a lot of people, but sometimes when you have over 900 clients, you don't know the right people to call all the time. And allowing me to go to the sale and say, okay, I have Partnership A spoken for, it's $300,000. What are we going to put in this $300,000? What I'm looking for today is X. Same as that premium horse. And when we went to Lexington, I knew that King of the North sister would be sought after. So even though I went above that premium bucket, I didn't have to put her in there at all. And as it turned out, I didn't find a horse that fit at 150 or below. I just didn't find our horse for that amount. So I went to plan B and said, okay, it's not fair just to expect everybody to pay more. If the people that own that premium bucket right now would like to buy into King of the North sister, that is going to be available. If you would simply like a refund, then that is available also. If you'd like to take that money and use it to buy shares in other buckets, that also is available to you. But allowing me to do this makes my job so much easier. Now, if I went to Lexington and I didn't have those buckets, I can assure you those Chapter 7s on day one would not be purchased, because those were in the blink of an eye. Those were looking at the board, understanding the field, so to speak, the chessboard, and saying, at $70,000 or at $45,000, those two Chapter 7s are undervalued. Somebody's making a mistake, and it wasn't going to be us. And I told everybody at the start of day one on our show, we'll talk about the shows also in a minute, I told everybody at the start of day one, my job, what I like most about my job, and when I know I'm doing my job right, is that when people come up to me or people look at the catalog from the night before or the day before and say, how did this horse go for this amount? You know, it should have went for more. I want to be the guy holding that ticket. That's what I strive to do. I want to be the guy that people come up and say, hey, what was wrong with that Chapter 7 on day one? Nothing. I was sitting there. I knew what the horse was worth because I had the horse priced on my iPad. Price was right there. My notes on the horse were right there. And as the horse is going through the ring, I'm watching the bidding stall, and it shouldn't. And I tell you guys this all the time, but what happens is people will look at it and say, well, I must have missed something because there's no way this horse is going for $45,000. His sister's one of the best 2-year-olds on the planet right now. There's no way that this colt is going for $45,000. And they wait because they aren't ready to bid. They weren't going to bid on hip number 45, right? They didn't have him priced. They didn't have their notes there. They just knew that he was worth more than what the board says. That is the difference between being prepared to go to the sale and buy every horse and going to the sale with a short list and saying, well, these are my 10. If these 10 horses fall in my price range, then I'm going to buy one of those 10. And guess what happens? You don't get one of those 10. That's just the way it is. So if you know that going in, is it not better just to price all the horses? And then sit there, take your time, have your notes that you trust, be very clear, which mine aren't all the time, but my price is very clear. This is what I am comfortable paying for this horse, and this is how we ended up with the Chapter 7s. And I couldn't do that if I didn't, because a component of that confidence is knowing that that money is there, right? Knowing that I can buy that Chapter 7 colt or that Chapter 7 filly. One, it fits into our buckets. This is what we're trying to achieve. These horses will help us get there. But two, the money is there. I can use this money earmarked for that horse. This is a better buy than what I was looking at, in my mind. And that's how we end up with the horses. And I have to tell people, that's why it's so important for me to be able to go there saying, okay, the buckets are spoken for. The buckets are there. We know exactly what we want from this sale, and I'm going to sit down and do my job and attain it. That's what the buckets allow me to do. And I know that's hard for some people. I get the same message all the time saying, I want to pick my own horse. I get it. But I can't buy your horse because I don't have a bucket together for your horse. Unless your horse ends up on my list or ends up in our cart because I bought it. But I couldn't do that if I didn't have people speaking up. So for the people out there saying, I want to pick my own horse, I get it. I'm not trying to pressure anybody into doing anything. But if everybody went into the sales and approached the stable.ca a yearling time with the same mentality, then I couldn't buy the horses I bought. And quite frankly, everybody watching this video knows how important these sales are. As I said to my wife, we can buy Sintra, we can buy these racehorses and do good. Eventually we're going to get stuck with a couple that don't do good. But our stable, the fuel in our barn, the oil coursing through this engine, the blood in our veins, is foundation, is the yearlings, is developing young horses and racing them in stake races. That's what we're all about. And we're going to have time to buy racehorses, and we'll talk about that as we get closer to Harrisburg. what people want to do, what racehorses we're looking at. Sure, we're going to look at some. I can tell you they all run pretty hot at Harrisburg, so I wouldn't be too excited about going to Harrisburg in hopes of buying an aged horse. I didn't have a ton of luck selling them there, but because we know what they were worth, and we weren't looking to sell them at bargains. We were looking to get paid a seller's price, and in many cases, people do. So that's what's going on with Harrisburg. I would ask everybody to have a look at what we've done, what we're planning on doing. I certainly don't want anybody overstretching themselves financially, but there is over half of the premium partnership, so that one expensive horse, and make no mistake, I can buy that expensive horse. And if I do my job really well, the people that are in that bucket are going to speak for the rest of those shares, much like we did with Punch the Clock, King of the North sister. And I don't want people left out, but at the same token, please understand exactly where we're coming from and how important these partnership buckets are for me, for us, for the stable moving forward. So we have who's racing today. We had who raced last night. We talked a little bit about Harrisburg. And I'm going to do a video in a minute and talk about exactly what we are looking for this fall, what we are looking to do this fall, and what horses we're looking at heading into the sale. So a couple of videos left, a little longer one to start your Thursday. It is a nice day here. It hopefully will remain a nice day throughout the rest of the night. And then, as I said, super excited about a little road trip with my girls later on. So I'll talk to you all soon. I hope you're all having a great start to your Thursday day. Take care.